guys, I'm Carmen and welcome to my channel. I am so excited to finally say that. Like, I have been really excited to do a YouTube channel. If you are new here, which all of you are because this is my very first video, I want you to click like. Yes, like the video before you even watch it because it's going to be great. And go ahead and click the subscribe button. Alright, you did that? Perfect. Happy New Year! Happy January. I am so excited to kick off this channel. You're going to get a lot from the Dubs. If you don't know me personally, that's what we call our family. We are the Dubs. The Dubs include me, my husband, my little ones, Ellis, Duke, and Deacon. So you'll get videos from us, you'll get vlogs from us, you'll get some resourceful videos here and there, and we also have some special content which might include some activities for you and your family to join in and do with us. But today I want to tackle a topic that's really sensitive for me. I talk about it here and there on my Instagram, but because January is Thyroid Awareness Month, I felt like it was super important to talk about a disease that impacts over 20 million people worldwide, and sometimes they have absolutely no idea. So what is the thyroid? Your thyroid gland sits right here in your neck. As you can see, I have this awesome scar from my surgery. The thyroid gland produces hormones that go through your bloodstream, and it basically regulates your metabolism. There are two breakdowns of this disease. You can either be hyperthyroidism or hypothyroidism. I happen to fall into the category of hypothyroidism. So basically, my thyroid gland does not produce enough of the hormones to send signals all throughout my body. How did I even find out that I was suffering from hypothyroidism or that I had a thyroid issue to begin with? I had a symptom that honestly a lot of people might overlook: fatigue. I honestly thought I was tired because at the time I was a mom of two, and being a mom wears you out. I had a 2-year-old daughter and an almost 1-year-old son, and I was just dealing with chronic fatigue. I mean, I could fall asleep almost anywhere, and I honestly thought it was kind of unusual, so I went to see my primary care physician. I know we have doctors for everything else, but it's important to have a primary care physician so that someone is used to you, they know your medical history, and someone you can share with, and just feel more comfortable with. So I went to see my primary care physician. She ran a couple of tests. They couldn't really pinpoint what was wrong and why I was experiencing the chronic fatigue until a miracle happened. And I call it a miracle because it was just by happen chance that I was drinking a bottle of water. So I'm in her office, I'm talking to her about my symptoms, telling her how I feel, and I take a sip of water. And when I do, she looks directly at my neck and says, "Can you do that again?" And I'm like, "What?" She asked me to drink the water once more, and when I did, she placed her hands on my neck and told me that my thyroid gland looked a little enlarged and she wanted me to go see a specialist. In a matter of days, I went to see a specialist, and turns out that I had 6 tumors growing on my thyroid gland. Fortunately, those tumors were all benign, and they were somewhat easy to remove, and so I was encouraged to go ahead and have the process of surgery. I had constant mood swings. I was driving Will crazy. And then I was always really, really cold, and those are symptoms of hypothyroidism. Other symptoms could include weight gain, feeling lethargic, and you might even notice some bulging in your neck. Like I said, my doctor asked me to drink a sip of water, and she noticed then that my thyroid gland looked enlarged. So those are some symptoms, but honestly, my mom went through this same process, and I never even thought about it being an issue of my own. But she dealt with hypothyroidism as well. My surgery was a whirlwind. This is going to be the climax of this video. I had to have surgery, but I wish I would have gotten a second opinion. And I wish I would have waited a little longer. I got the diagnosis and probably had the surgery like a couple of weeks later. And there was a lot going on in my life at the time. So again, It's important to have a primary care physician. If you think your thyroid may be an issue, I also encourage you to get a second opinion. If you've been diagnosed with anything, it's always good just to hear from someone else. That's something that I didn't do, and I regret it big time. So I had the surgery. Like I said, I have this awesome scar that will be with me for a little while. Hopefully Moderna or somebody is watching and they can sponsor me and send me some product. But anywho, I'm gonna have this scar for a while, and so I just call it my beauty mark. Whatever, it's here. But I had my surgery, and I actually had some complications with it. I had the tumors growing on my thyroid, and they gave me the option of either one, removing the left side of my thyroid gland and then coming back later and moving the right side, which had the least amount of tumors, or doing the entire surgery at once. I elected to have the entire surgery done at one time. So I have no thyroid gland. My process of the surgery was to completely remove the gland and all of the tumors at one time. This was to prevent the possibility of cancer forming, my vocal cords being destroyed, and all the other things that could have possibly happened. And so, had the entire gland removed. The surgery actually went really, really well. It was my healing process that was traumatic. I went in 6 weeks post of the surgery to get my stitches removed, and the most crazy thing happened. She removes the stitches, and my entire wound reopened, as though I'd never had stitches, as though I was never healing. And right there in that moment, I went back to the OR as an emergency surgery, and I had my wound re-stitched for the second time. It was super traumatic. I'm scrambling to get the kids to somewhere, calling to see if my mom could come up. Like, I went in to get stitches removed and ended up in the OR. So it was super frightening, and I don't wish that on anyone. So I had what was called more of like a reconstructive type of thing, because my wound wouldn't close. So my second surgery, turned out I had an infection growing, and so over time my wound was just bulging. It started out as a very small dot, and I think I'm going to drop some images so you guys can see. I will warn you, they're graphic, may make you close your eyes, but I just want you guys to have some type of reference to what I'm talking about. So over time, this little bitty bump just grew and grew and grew to the point where it just basically protruded out of my neck. I went to see that same specialist again, and where did I end up? Back in the OR for another reconstructive surgery. This time they had to remove out all of the bacteria that had formed at the wound site, and all the little tissue that was impacted by it. It was really gross. It was really bad. If you've ever had any type of surgery before, you know it's tough, but having the same wound worked on over and over again, it can be a lot. I will say this candidly, I think I was a little depressed during all of this because it was a lot, and I was a new mom. Well, I was pregnant at the time. Yeah, that was the other kicker. I was pregnant. It was a lot. So anywho, saying all this to say, get a second opinion. Don't go with the first doctor that you meet. Ask questions. Ask all of the questions. If your thyroid is causing you any type of issues, see if there's a more natural way that you can rectify the issue. See if you can maybe do something else instead of having the entire gland removed. I know that there are other methods out there. I'm not going to drop those all because, again, I'm not a doctor and I'm not diagnosing or giving you guys like specifics to do. I'm just telling you my story. That's wrong. I am giving you specifics to do. So that's my surgery story. As much as I think I'm going to share, I think I covered most of it. 3 surgeries, yeah, it was a lot in the course of 3 months, but here we are, a year later. I'm healed. No, seriously, I'm healed in Jesus' name, covered by the blood. And I feel much better. It took a very long time for me to accept that I'm probably going to have this scar for quite some time, unless, again, Mederma sponsors me or cocoa butter sponsors me and helps me to clear this up a lot faster. But for now, I have this awesome necklace that I wear. I think I quickly mentioned that during this process I was pregnant. And I know that I said I wish I had gotten a second opinion. And for one of those reasons, I didn't realize how much thyroidism, hypothyroidism impacts pregnancy. Now, I can't speak to fertility or infertility or things like that, but as far as my pregnancy, that was a little traumatic too. I had to be monitored a bit more closely than a normal pregnancy. So I was going to see my OBGYN, who is amazing. I think I'll do a video on her one day. But I was going to see my OBGYN for regular visits, and then I would also have to go see a specialist. I would also have to get blood drawn, I would say once a month, to make sure that my levels, my thyroid levels, were where they needed to be throughout the pregnancy. As you know, when you're pregnant, your hormones are going up and down. And so they were trying to keep me at a, I don't even remember the exact number right now, but they were trying to make sure I just basically stayed regular. Also, my baby, my little Deacon, who's now in the world and as handsome and as healthy as he can be, but they also had to monitor his growth and make sure that he wasn't growing what's called a goiter. So a goiter can form on the baby of a mom who is dealing with thyroid disease. And so it's basically like a little knot. Like when people say, oh, your neck looks like it's bulging, that could form on the baby. I had no clue about any of this before I had the surgery. I did ask, would this impact pregnancy or my ability to get pregnant, but I didn't ask how would it impact my pregnancy throughout a 9-month or 10-month period. That I did not know. I learned all of that from my OBGYN, who I absolutely love. I'm saying that again because she is part of the reason why I feel better about where I am as far as my thyroid issue. And she also recommended an endocrinologist to me. So this is another tip. Make sure you have an endocrinologist that you trust. And that can give it to you straight and funky. The endocrinologist that I meet with now, we meet twice a year. She checks my levels. She keeps me up to speed on everything. And I am just so grateful that because of my OBGYN, I was connected to her. So again, your thyroid can impact your pregnancy. The little bit that I do know about it as well, it can impact your ability to get pregnant. Again, I don't want to deep dive into that because I'm not a doctor. I just want to share my story and how it has impacted me. I hope today was helpful. I hope you got a gist of thyroid disease. If you are watching this, male or female, and you feel like you might have any of those symptoms that I mentioned, the chronic fatigue, the mood swings, just being up and down, honestly being the coldest person in the room, just like you're always cold, always needing a jacket or something, weight gain that you just can't pinpoint and you're doing all the things, all the keto, all the running, and you're just constantly gaining weight. I'm laughing, but seriously, go see someone. Primary care physician, see an endocrinologist, see if you can pinpoint if it is your thyroid. And then if it is, see what steps you can take and see if there are more natural steps you can take other than having surgery. Another thing that I'll add before I close out this video, because I don't want to keep you guys too long, I wasn't super aware of the fact that I would be taking medicine for the rest of my life. So because I had my thyroid gland removed and I fall in the category of hypothyroidism, I basically don't have a gland to produce what I need. So I take medicine to keep me balanced. As my husband says, keep me sane. He always asks, did you take your medicine today? Because you off. Yes, I took my medicine. So I take, the name for it is Synthroid or levothyroxine. And so I have to take that daily just to, make sure that my body has what it needs. So again, that's my story with hypothyroidism. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I will do my best to respond to you guys. I'm also going to link my Instagram. I have a lot of conversations with mostly women about my process because, again, it impacts over 20 million people in the world and they have no clue. So I love talking about it. Hit me in my DMs. I'll respond back, I promise, or drop something in the comments and I'll connect with you. But again, if you have any questions, definitely seek a professional. Again, this is my story and it may not be the same for you, but I just want to help bring awareness to thyroidism. So, no, thyroid disease. Happy January, guys. I'm out. See ya.